Here we go. Thank you for coming on. I mean, I know how hard it is for you to cook, and more than that, but I know how easy it is for you to talk. So you're balancing the two together. This seems like a simple recipe, but I've always been afraid to make it.
Really?
When I actually went and bought my pecans, these were like, I'm trying to think exactly. It was like $12 per the pound. And right next to it was a half pound of candied pecans made by the same company for $15. And you know it wasn't $15, it wasn't, well, let's see, that's double the pecans and a little bit of sugar.
Right.
So, yeah. So, here we go. Low cost. And you say simple. So I'm
Very
prepared
simple.
All right. What ingredients and what brain power do we need to do, and what made you pick this recipe?
So I picked this recipe because it's summertime and I'm always trying to be conscious of my energy use, especially in the summer, right? We live in Illinois. I crank up the air conditioning. I think today is like a heat index of 103. And so one of my favorite go-tos for dinner in these hot months is to not use my oven or my stove or anything in my home that's going to kind of juxtapose the cool air that I'm generating to stay cool from my AC. So it started with me being
you need to do like my mom does. My mom has two sun ovens, and she just cooks in her front yard.
Yeah.
She doesn't heat the house at all.
I'm not that savvy, but I am conscious of my energy use, trying to save money. And so salads have just been something that's really easy to whip together. And then I love, now I don't, and I want to be this person next year, so check in on me, but I want to start growing lettuce and different peppers and things in the garden. But a lot of my neighbors do. And so when you live in a small town in rural Illinois, a lot of times your neighbors say, hey, do you want some lettuce? Do you need some tomatoes? Because they've got more produce than they're able to consume. So they share.
Oh, yeah.
So I collected a lot of produce and a lot of lettuce. And so I started making salads. And to get creative, other than cherry tomatoes, you could put some fruit in salads. But I saw a recipe online with candied pecans. And like you, I've seen pecans in the store. They're quite expensive. And I've seen candied pecans or pralines in the store that were just a little bit more expensive. And I was really surprised when I came across the recipe, which really just asked for brown sugar, white granulated sugar, cinnamon, vanilla extract, dash of water, and I believe the pecans, of course, and an egg white, which the egg white just helps everything stick to the pecans. And I thought, well, I have all those things in my house.
I've seen a lot of recipes that don't have the egg, but then the egg really makes about the difference, I think. It doesn't stay stuck to it. You end up with like the pecans and the pralines apart.
No, this is the egg white is really what binds the sugars together to caramelize while you're baking them. So simple. So I want to start with, I would suggest preheating your oven now to 300.
All right.
And getting that ready. And then I would get a cookie sheet and
parchment. You've never done this on stovetop where you just like
do it in I've always done it with the oven. I don't
even know if that's possible, but
probably, but I've always done it with the oven. If there's a way for me to not make a mess or a less messier way of doing something, that's what I'm going to choose. And a lot of times things in the oven tend to be less messy.
You could probably try it in an air fryer.
You know what's so funny is I'm going to, but it was too soon. I literally just got my fiance. He was my boyfriend last time I was on the show, and we just got engaged a couple weeks ago. It was his birthday, and I got him an air fryer. Yeah, so here's his air fryer. I got a the double top, and it's 10 quarts total. So you could do you could do a vegetable and a meat in each basket simultaneously. So that was pretty exciting. So I would like to try. And then the other thing is I bought a bunch of strawberries from the garden, from my farm stand, and it has a dehydrate button on this air fryer. So I'm going to try dehydrating strawberries another day. So yeah, so I got my oven preheated, and then you're just going to want to have a good sized cookie sheet, like a full size cookie sheet, and a piece of parchment paper, because you're going to, it's again, anything to save on cleaning. The parchment paper also helps, and you'll see when you're breaking them up after they come out of the oven with them sticking to the pan.
What temperature did you say is best?
300.
So it's a slow. Yeah, it's just a slow roast.
Yeah. Yeah. So once you've done
You
that,
said get some parchment paper.
yeah. It's not necessary, but I use the parchment paper to help just with cleanup.
What do you think is the best kind of pan? Like just a flat pan or a
Flat pan.
cookie pan or
I've used a pizza pan before. Like as long as it's metal and it'll go in the oven safely at 300.
yeah, I was looking at because I have like, an 8x10 cake pan, but the cookie pan, you
Yeah.
probably need, like you said, the metal.
Yeah.
I don't use the parchment paper as much as I should.
I
tend
love
to
parchment
forget.
paper. I use parchment paper like with my meat. I'll buy like, again, living out here, you can buy bulk from the farmers. And so we'll get hamburger patties, but they come in bulk. And so I use parchment paper in between each patty before I freeze the meat so that it's easy to just take, 2 patties out to defrost. Love parchment paper.
I had the chance the option to buy the pecans where they were cracked but not shelled, and like I've done that before. It's like
it's a
if
long
you're
day,
doing
but
something else, if you're like watching TV or something, you can like take them apart. But otherwise, I don't know how they get all the shells out of here, because whenever I do it by hand, I always end up with a shell or something, and those shells are bitter.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got our parchment paper on our pan and we got our oven starting to preheat. So we really want to start mixing the sugars. So I use a medium-sized bowl. And you're going to want to start with a 1/2 cup of regular sugar. So I've got my measure, my sugar. You're going to start with putting the sugar in the bowl.
Now, I would specify, we've noticed it in the US, if you don't get the good cane sugar, it doesn't, like there's a lot of the cheap sugar, it doesn't caramelize.
Really? Well, this is just cheap sugar. It's the cheap, just like standard brand.
Oh, you might have to do this by heart. I don't see my measuring cup. Where's my measuring cup? Here is a measuring cup. What are we putting?
I don't know if you see this but I use clothes hanging clips for all my bag clips.
I use rubber bands.
Okay, yeah.
Somehow I end up with a ton of rubber bands, so I tuck the bag. I try to cut just a corner off, or anyway, I tuck the bag and then roll it, and then put the rubber band around it.
Okay. So next I've got my brown sugar and my white sugar in my bowl. And so now
You're ahead of me. Oh, here. You know, my measuring cups were hanging right in front of me.
Remember how I did this
So how
last
much are
time.
we putting in? Let me look.
So you did a 1/2 cup of each sugar, and I'm gonna add the cinnamon. I'm gonna take my little cap off here,
Half a cup.
and I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon.
You ever, did you know that you can just make your own brown sugar if you just have regular sugar and mix some molasses?
What do you mix with it?
Molasses.
Oh,
So if you have just a, you know, a food processor, you just get regular sugar and just put a little molasses until it becomes brown.
and then you want to add a 1 teaspoon of salt.
All right.
I see
For not
yours
being
got
someone who
cane.
cooks,
You got cane sugar today, Laura.
oh yeah, I started being really careful about that because we've had so many times we couldn't caramelize something. I don't know.
Yeah, we've talked about it several times.
Like, all right, so 1/2 cup of both sugars, brown sugar and regular sugar, and then what was next?
And then I'm just gonna mix it up. Get it well blended.
Let's see, 1 tablespoon ground cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of salt. How important do you think the salt is?
You know, it adds a little something. So I really think the salt is good because you got that sweet and salty. Without the salt, and it's a little too sweet. So this kind of adds a little dynamic of that sweet and salty to it. And you know, the ratio from the sugars to the salt is really unbalanced. So it's not going to be too salty. You might not really notice a difference.
And for us on low salt, it's not a large amount for all of it you're using
Yeah.
there.
One thing I learned when I started baking is how like it's like chemistry, right? Where you think, oh well, I want to, you know, keep the salt out because that, you know, I'm trying to be more conscious about my cholesterol or my blood pressure or something. And then you realize that that little bit of salt was actually necessary to get that chemical reaction when like the baking was rising or mixing.
Yeah, baking is much more, you need to really follow instructions more closely.
Yeah, like you said, it's more chemistry. Although upside down cake, whatever you put underneath it can be whatever you want. Just the cake on the top has to be.
You know what I've never made is a dump cake. Have you ever seen that? Where it's like you don't even mix anything, you just put the dry cake mix or the dry ingredients, and then you add like a can of pop on top, and then you just throw it in the oven. You don't even mix it. Have you ever heard of that? Never made one of those.
That's like opposite of upside down cake. Yeah. It works really well if it's stuff that's really wet, like peaches. I've actually made one with tomatoes, because tomatoes, you know, are a fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Have to make sure there is enough water to. So
I'm just trying to get like the lumps out as best as possible. A whisk might have been a good idea. That might.
Even every time I think there's brown sugar was really lumpy. But
This is pretty good.
we've got 1/2 cup of regular sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I don't know. Let's see here. So So a pound, seems like this is a recipe for about a pound of pecans.
Yeah, so 4 cups,
Looking
yeah.
at it. Now, I was thinking I'd make just a little bit. I've just got so many cashews that I make a little batch of
Oh, yeah.
cashews.
Candied cashews. Yeah, I mean, you
I
could do
just-
this with any nut.
Cashews are, well, the nice thing about cashews is, and almonds, they're not nuts, so they're like more allergen free. All right.
Okay, so I got my
Oops,
sugars
some
pretty
nuts
much
fell in my
mixed up.
mouth.
What
How
fell in
many,
your
how
mouth?
many nuts,
Yeah,
how many nuts are required to like fall in your mouth while you're eating, cooking?
right. I think it's all up to you. You do you. We're adulting.
All right.
Okay, so next I'm going to get a medium-sized bowl. Same thing. And this is, I'm going to put my egg and my water in here. And I'm hoping I don't screw this up because I have a tendency to get a little yolk, and I'm going to do my best to not do that. So I'm going to,
Me too. Well, the best thing is this, people have taught me, is if you use the shell itself, we're separating the whites.
yeah.
So the shell itself cuts. Oop,
Nope, see, I got a little yolk in there.
And then if
I
you-
knew it was going to happen. Let me try this again.
oops, doing it backwards. I was going to mix it in this bowl. So we just need the whites for our recipe.
Yeah.
And we just need 1 egg white. All right. Set the yolk aside. You have a good yolk.
I'm getting one more because I didn't get all the egg yolk because mine split. So I'm going to try this one more time and get a little, I'm just sort of eyeing it. You're not, there we go. The last egg was more yolk and not enough egg. I mean,
All right, then we
maybe,
need
is
a
there a YouTube
teaspoon
video
of
that shows you how
water.
to do this? How to get egg white?
Oh, just
Separate.
don't try it. Just dump it back and forth. Don't try
There
to
we go.
separate. Just
Okay.
dump and then dump. Yep.
Got
Yeah,
it.
they also have a little plastic gadget that costs like $1 or $2 that you just separates the egg and the yolk.
I think if you just use your fingers,
You can do that too.
your
Yeah.
fingers at the same, because then you can feel the actual shape of the yolk.
Yeah.
And if you get a little yolk, like I've got a little yolk in mine, you're gonna be fine. It's not gonna ruin the recipe.
All right. Does anybody have a little joke to say about?
A yolk
Give
joke.
me your little yolk.
Okay,
like
so we also want to add
Local
vanilla.
yokel. Oh yeah, vanilla.
So it says half a teaspoon of vanilla in the recipe, but I like to do 1 teaspoon, but that's just my preference. I really like the strong vanilla flavor. Just
And
something
then I
I
guess
do.
it also seems it matters how good quality the vanilla is. Does it seem to you guys that vanilla, the longer it sits, the weaker it gets?
I don't
No.
know about that, but there was something in the news that, I don't know, for environmental reasons or climate change or something, that maybe vanilla is not going to be so available.
Uh-oh.
Gotta start growing
All
your
right.
own.
Okay, I just added a teaspoon of water. Now, if you have a whisk, you could whisk this together. I have this handy
All
gadget,
right.
which is a frother for your coffee. So I
Okay.
use this to get my to whip.
Good idea.
How well do you
Yeah.
want it?
You want to just get it well mixed and get it whipped. Like,
So we're not trying to get it like frothy.
mm-mm.
I mean, look, I mean, mine started frothing up like pretty quick. So. All right. Oh, let's see. Well, that was the oven going. My oven hit warm. Thank you for remembering to tell me about it. I always forget. That's teeny.
Yeah, I know, but it works because
Perfect.
there's this small amount. It's just 1 egg. But it works. Instead of me pulling out the mixer or I'm telling you, this little frother for my coffee is a little handy tool. And it's just battery operated.
So how much? I mean, you're whipping it a lot more. So I should keep whipping.
Yeah, but it's also because it's just fun. Like I'm enjoying.
Yeah, it's going to
So,
turn into egg white.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to get it like frothy and like peaks and stuff?
Yeah.
Or okay. I thought you were just
Yeah,
mixing it
you want to
together,
get
but
it a
you're
little
trying to
frothy.
you're trying to get like a meringue almost.
Yeah.
All right. It's like doubling in volume,
Yeah.
getting that air in there.
You're using your muscles.
Well, I want to start singing, what do you call it? Native American song. Well, get along, one song, but
Okay, so once that's kind of done, you want to add your pecans. Okay.
in my case, I think I'll add like just a little bit of cashews to try to see.
I've got some more pecans. Add.
Might be a little too much nut. I want to see how the cashews do. Maybe I'll take a little bit of the pecans out.
And then you're just gonna really mix them together to get that egg white to kind of coat them.
Seem like it's, oh yeah, it is. If I look close, it's coating it.
And don't be scared if your nuts kind of break up while you're mixing them. That's totally fine. You could do whole nuts, you could do half, you could do pieces. It's
I suppose here's where instead of eggs, you could put just wet them down.
I
Wouldn't
don't
stick
think wetting
as
them down
well.
works because that'll dry in the oven and then the spices, the sugar and stuff will come off of it. I think the egg is like the secret ingredient that really makes this pop.
But I also noticed that we in the U.S. tend to overuse eggs as well. They're cheap.
Oh, I love eggs. I eat a lot of eggs. Hard-boiled eggs. That's like one of my favorite snacks. Whenever I get a dozen eggs, I always hard-boil half of the dozen because I just like having them. And when you're like, what do I want to snack on in between meetings and stuff? I'm like, oh, let me go get an egg.
You can even freeze hard-boiled eggs.
I did not know that.
I've done that. I've done that before, and then we just take them out, and I mean they change slightly in texture, but mean, maybe it's like a little rubbery if you were just eating the egg itself, but
I've
if you
watched
make like
some
an
of
egg
these,
salad or
yeah, I've watched some of these food shows where they go across the world in different cuisines and cultures. And I don't know what country it is. I believe it's in Asia, but it's a popular thing to ferment eggs. So you bury the egg in like ash and it ferments.
Yeah, they call it the 1,000-year-old egg.
Yeah. Have any of you ever tried that or had that?
I know about them, but I've never tried one.
Yeah, I don't know if I could. I don't know. I think I would. I would try it. I'd try anything once.
I mean, I've tried fermented tofu and the eggs gotta be, I don't know. Eggs though, the smell. But I've had durian, which smells like rotten eggs, so maybe.
Okay, so now I'm gonna take my shears and just start mixing them
Are you
into
dumping the
this.
whole thing or just a little bit? Or you're dumping the whole
So I do like half where I dump and then I start mixing and then I do the last half.
thing? Okay.
Again, this is more about me being conscious of mess.
Yeah, I tend to put way too much in stuff and then spill stuff around. So it's good.
I got a KitchenAid mixer for my birthday and I need to use that more.
Well, you should look back. We just had a recipe. I'm actually drinking some of it. Right now it's condensed milk and orange juice and ice.
Okay.
And it was just you toss that all in blender or food processor and it's called Die Singing or from Dominican Republic, yes. That's what I was having for breakfast. Speaking of eggs, I read a funny thing where they make those box mixes. And when they first came out with the box mix, it was just mixed with water and baked. And people were like, didn't like them because they didn't feel like they were baking.
Right.
So they put one egg and a half a cup of oil in it.
Really?
And then people were like, oh, so you could make a box mix with
Just water?
without the egg. Well, water and you do need oil. You can just put just slightly more oil and you don't need the egg. But people just didn't feel like they were actually baking without having a couple extra steps.
Oh. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this.
That.
Smells amazing. And your house,
I
when
must
you
have
start
done that
baking
right now.
this, is gonna smell amazing. This is like, I like to put candied pecans on my salads, but come to think of it, like this is really makes me think of fall and winter. When you start baking these, your house just starts to smell like that cinnamon and really smells like the holidays.
It'd be good topping for ice cream, I think.
Oh, yes, I have done that. I'm not gonna lie, I've had extra and that I've used for ice cream, vanilla ice cream with a little bit of caramel sauce.
I think my favorite, I've had these at a restaurant with like Brussels sprouts cut in half and like grilled. I think they actually they toast the pecans and the Brussels sprouts at the same time in the oven.
Yep.
Or
Okay.
if they don't, they mix it together. So
Okay. So now I'm going to put my camera back down. And I'm going to bring over my cookie sheet that I've got my parchment paper on. And I'm just gonna go ahead and dump this on here, right? Because I'm gonna spread it out to a single layer.
look at that, well mixed.
I just
My
found
mouth is
parchment.
watering.
I just found parchment paper recently. I guess it's always been available where they come in a box and they just fit the size of those oven pans. Just
Yeah.
unfold them. Kind of handy.
Oh, you mean pre-cut?
Yeah. I think they're
I mean,
folded
this
up.
way it fit. Yeah, this way it fit, but this way it didn't, and I actually ended up with like 3 extra inches. I wasted putting it under.
Use
Right,
that space,
actually-
get it as like flat as possible. Again, you're gonna see when it starts to bake, we'll check on it halfway through. It starts to bubble a little because of that egg, but it is gonna, I mean, you guys, this is so delicious. Or I can't wait when they're done to see your face when you pop one in your mouth, because I don't
Well,
know.
wait a few minutes.
bias.
Hot. You don't want to eat it right away. I know nuts when they're hot can really burn you.
I think they're delicious. I love when they're hot.
Really, I've done that before and burned my mouth bad.
They have burnt my mouth with pizza, but not with a hot nut. Okay, so I've got this pretty well.
I had to pull the paper up on this edge because I knew the sugar was going to melt around. All right. And how long do you think I should set mine?
So now I'm going to move you for a second so that I can get to the oven here. So we're going across the kitchen. So you got the oven behind me. Okay. So I'm going to put this in for about 30 to 35 minutes, but we're going to check it halfway through. So it's 135.
What shelf do you think is better? I guess, I mean, if your oven is good, all the temperature is the same.
What's that?
It's hotter
What
in the
shelf
top
to
than
put
in
it
the
on?
bottom.
Like, that's hotter in the top. Probably lower temperature, so I put it on the middle shelf.
Yeah, I put it on the middle shelf too. And this is what I love about when you're cooking or baking is like I'm eating my rosemary and cream cheese mashed potatoes in between.
That's smart. That's actually smart to like have something to snack on while you're, because otherwise you're gonna snack on stuff that's not as good while you're doing.
Yep.
And if you're doing dinner, you can have a glass of wine on the side.
Today I'm going with tea.
What do we
But-
say? 20 minutes?
So about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to check on it, but you could bake these anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. It just sort of depends. So we're going to start with 30, 35 and see how they, but we're going to check on them. So I'm going to leave those be. They're doing their thing. And because I like to use these on salads, I'm going to make a small salad because I went to the farm stand I was telling you and got some fresh produce. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do for 30 minutes? I could be chopping stuff for my salad. I got some really great produce at the market.
Yeah, this is like peak season for everything.
Yeah.
It's like right between, it's like
Well-
right between summer and fall. So you get like the end of summer stuff and the beginning of fall stuff.
Well, tonight for dinner, I'm making steak and potatoes, fresh sweet corn, and then this salad as a starter. And the steak, I've got fillets that I'm going to start marinating about 2 hours, about an hour and a half. 3 o'clock, I'll start marinating for 2 hours. But then I do that. Have you guys ever seen the tin foil bowls for meat and potatoes? So I'll hard boil some of these potatoes I got from the garden. It's got some yellow potatoes from the garden, and I'm not peeling
Wait,
them
when you
anything.
say
I'll
from the garden, you mean your garden?
No, I don't have a garden. I'm talking like other people. Remember, my neighbors have
Oh, yeah.
gardens that are like, Tina, do you want some fresh produce? So
But
Yeah.
people are growing potatoes. Those are beautiful potatoes.
I
Those are
know.
from your neighbors?
Yeah. So I have a little bag of
And
these.
even better, your neighbors are sharing.
I got onions. And then I got another onion.
I did recently see a post
Another
on
onion.
social media that says, even if you live in a rural area, this is the time of the year that you really should lock your house and car, because this is the time when people sneak bagfuls of zucchini into your house.
Ha. Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, that a zucchini, if you let it grow one extra day, like doubles in size.
Really? You know, I never do
It's,
that.
I'm exaggerating, but they can get big,
I love
and there's no
zucchini.
problem with it. There's no problem with them getting big. They just get less tender the bigger they get.
I'm trying to remember. In England, we don't call them zucchini. I think we call them aubergines. And then or no, eggplant. Wait, is it eggplant? No. And zucchini is courgettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's courgettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And in
eggplant
Spanish, they
is
just call it all squash. It's like green squash, yellow squash, different colors. All right. But do you want us to stop the video, or are you just chopping up a salad?
I'm just chopping up. You can stop recording if you want and come back.
In Mexico, they do a lot of flor de calabaza where they fry them or stuff them.
Hmm.
'Cause,
Okay, I learned a
yeah, I'm
trick.
just
I took a cooking
cleaning up.
class, and I'm going to teach you guys this trick, or I think I'm going to teach you this trick. So I don't know if anyone's handy with a knife. I'm not, but I learned this. You cut the onion in half, and then what you do is you don't cut all the way through. You get real close, and you do one, and you just sort of like do these little strips, but you don't go all the way through. Okay, so that's it. So it's like
really,
built together. I didn't cut.
really
I stopped
fine.
right here. Yeah, and then you just. I had a bigger knife, but it's just an easier way, because then if you cut all the way through, the onion starts falling apart while you're doing this. Whereas if you
Yep.
stop just here, it keeps it all together.
It's one of the first things they teach in culinary school.
Yeah, I'm 45 and I just
Really?
learned this. I was
That's
like,
only
my
if you
God,
wanted
I've
to
been doing it wrong
mince
my
it
whole
really
life.
small.
Yeah, I was like, I've been
I
doing
guess,
it
Fred,
wrong.
I never learned that because I never mince stuff really small. I always make stuff.
The other
like
thing you learn is the crab.
chunky.
So Tina's kind of got her fingers exposed there a little bit. You got to tuck those in your left hand. You have to sort of tuck your fingers
Yeah,
underneath. That's the second lesson you learn after you cut yourself.
right. But I know, like, you want
Oh,
to
and
keep
here,
your
Tina,
finger here.
Yeah,
here
you
as
want to
knife technique. Well, here,
you
I'll
want
say.
to you want to pinch the knife blade that gives you better control too.
Here's something I just learned recently. If you grab the two fingers and put it right here, and then just put your pointer finger, now you're just, you have greater control. So
Yeah,
if you
that's
get
what
these
Tina
two
was
fingers,
doing. Yeah.
Yes.
now there's two places. You can do it back here for rough chop. I'm rocking chop. And then right at the very top here for fine chop. And so this is if you're doing this, you put your finger further out. And then if you're rocking it, you can do the exact same thing. I think the best cooking thing I ever did is I got a book on knife techniques. And it was really just how to cut up different things.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I still haven't been able to do is cut up a chicken. That one I still, you see those videos of people just dissecting a whole chicken real quick, and I'm still not.
Oh, I love
There
watching
for that one.
butchers.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
trying to
And
remember
there's,
the famous French chef who appeared with, oh, now I'm having a senior moment. He does a chicken and boy, he looks like he's a brain surgeon when he does the chicken. Boy, he can take that sucker apart and nothing flat.
Okay, so I got this bulk thing of spinach.
Jacques Papin, I think it is. He has a, Jacques Papin has a YouTube video on knife skills.
So when I'm chopping spinach, I just sort of make it into I like chopped salads.
What do you tend to put in a salad?
So, this
think
is
goes
what I love
really good
about
with these
salads
nuts.
is it's really difficult to go wrong. I always make sure there's a cheese involved. And I really like dark greens because they just, again, have a higher nutrition value.
Wait, you said cheese?
Oh, I always love to put cheese in my salads.
Huh.
So I
I'm
love
trying to think.
cheese. Love cheese. And I'm gonna do a mix of romaine and spinach for this salad. But I'll show you here. I'm gonna take you on a little trip through my kitchen, my fridge. So okay, so you got my fridge here. And this
You
is my
sure you
cheese
want to do
drawer.
this? You're on the recording still.
That's fine. So this is my cheese
I mean,
drawer.
some people are really embarrassed of their fridge. You got a lot
Oh,
of
I'm
food in
not.
there.
I'm not. So this is my cheese drawer.
Wow.
And so it's like all of this is cheese. I got different cheeses, cheddars, mozzarella, Parmesan. I've got goat cheese. I've got some Gouda, got some horseradish cheese, shredded cheese. I love cheese. And so I cook a lot with cheese. And so yeah, this is the cheese drawer and then like fresh herbs. So yeah, that's my
I tend to always think of cheese as extremely expensive. So I'll put like cheese on the top or with something right at the end, and tend to not cook with cheese very much. So which, like, just to let you know, since you taught us how to make grilled cheese sandwich, I'm probably like 3 times a week.
Really, it's good, huh?
I'm going through this period that it's like I'll make a big pot of soup on Sunday, and then I'll just have that soup cold with the grilled cheese.
Yep.
Like, because it's so hot, I don't warm up the soup and then just have it with the grilled cheese. So it doesn't matter what type of soup, I can make a quick grilled cheese and it's warm with it. Yeah.
And
Suzanne's at the ice cream place and she's pointing out sweet basil vanilla is a flavor they have.
Ooh.
Let's see if she's going to get a scoop or not.
I need to get one of those small batch ice cream machine makers. I've done that before because I've got this, really, really good blender. And you can really froth it up and then you just pour it in a bowl and put it in the freezer. And it's like, I mean, this right here is that the die singing or morir soando. And it's just orange juice and condensed milk and a little bit of vanilla. And so, yeah, I mean, it's extremely frothy. If my freezer wasn't totally full right now, I'd pour some of that. But right now, I'm just gonna. It's this really good big blender. It froths it up, like doubles in volume.
Okay.
But
yeah, I love to
All right.
put goat cheese or blue cheese in my salads, Parmesan.
Normally, when we have a long wait like this, we don't wait until it comes out. We just do a post a picture. But so far, you've been entertaining. So.
Okay, good.
Just like part of it is just, you want to tell a little bit, you told it in the last cooking show, why cooking now is giving you happiness. Because
Oh,
you
yeah. Well, I
you went
didn't
from like completely hating cooking.
cooking to now I like it. Yeah, so because of Blaine, who's outside mowing our hill, that would be entertaining. I'm gonna listen for the mower. If he starts mowing that hill, I'll take you guys out there and show you how he does that. That itself is a YouTube video. But
You
no,
wanna
I
just tell
just
us?
yeah. So I just didn't cook a lot. And then I got in this relationship with Blaine, who's from Kentucky, and he's a very
Oh,
good
I meant tell us how he's mowing the hill.
Oh, I'll watch, but he uses a rope. So it's so steep that because I live on this kind of bluff in Petersburg, that he has to stand at the top and then with a rope, he just lowers the mower down the hill and then wrangles it back up.
Genius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
It's just
Literally.
it's a push mower and he just lowers it with the rope and just, that's genius.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still a lot of work, but
Oh
now
yeah,
you're not trying to figure out how to walk up and down the hill.
right. Right. Let me get another onion. Hold on. So yeah, so he's taking
All
a
right,
break right now because of the heat, but when he starts up
So
again, I
back
will.
to what made you start loving cooking or liking
Yeah,
it.
so this relationship, I thought he's a really good cook, but I'm telling you, I know it sounds all lovey-dovey and it really is, but when you love somebody, you find yourself enjoying pushing yourself, maybe in areas of your life that maybe you shied away from because there wasn't anybody motivating you or it wasn't an interest. And when you love someone who loves food and really likes cooking and using the kitchen, it motivated me to say, I'd like to
Because
be.
before this relationship, you cooked just because every once
I
in a while,
had to
just because
eat.
you
Like
had
I
to.
cooked, yeah, I would warm up a can of soup or a can of chili or I ate a lot of microwave meals. I made those grilled cheeses. There were a few things I would cook if I had guests, but honestly, like even if people came to visit me, I would have anxiety about what am I cooking them because I'm just not handy in the kitchen.
If
And
you
I was
had
just,
like a party, did you have it catered or
oh
you
heck
do a
yeah,
potluck?
yeah. I hired someone. Yep. Absolutely.
See, for me, that would be like, for me, having a party is the enjoyment of sharing the food is like probably 80% of the party for me.
Yeah. Now I enjoy it. But yeah, so last time I was on the show, which was it a month ago, month and a half ago now, or?
And that was your first, I was really surprised when you reached out to me and say, I want to cook. And I was like, you cook? 'Cause, I mean, when we first talked, you were just like, I don't
I was
cook
like,
at
no,
all. And
you were like, come on, Tina, nope, nope. I have a lot of other skill sets, but that ain't one of them. You asked earlier too about salads, like what do I put in a salad? So maybe it's because I'm an artist, but I really like color in my salads. And so I do go for color also. So like now I'm cutting up some little cherry tomatoes. And I need
So I need to send
knife.
you a copy of my,
I need to get a
I was
better.
going to say world's famous. I make a salad based on color, and it's a quinoa salad. You cook some quinoa, cool it, and then just put anything you want in it based on color.
Okay.
Because the real flavor of the thing is the dressing. And so,
Yeah.
anyway, I'll send that to you. I feel like that was one of the first cooking shows I did on here because I've won. It's been published in like 2 or 3 different cooking books,
Uh-huh.
fundraising cooking books because it looks so good. I am a cook a lot of food to feed the people, not really make it look good. That was one that's an exception.
Okay.
People really do eat with their eyes first.
Yeah, I would admit I love the presentation. I've been getting better at presentation, even on leftovers.
Hey, or hey, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, Suzanne, did you eat that ice cream?
No, I picked it up. It's the sweet basil vanilla.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds
we
delicious.
saw that.
It's a sweet basil sorbet that's swirled in vanilla, and it's my all-time favorite. And it's
Oh.
only this time of year.
Where can
So-
you get it?
Oh, it's at this one place in Minneapolis called Lala Ice Cream.
Oh,
So so I'm at a friend's house. He just moved in. Hey, Alfredo, may I show him some of your boxes? Okay,
Hey,
here's his
Suzanne,
kitchen
we're
right
still
now.
recording.
Yeah. So here's his, but there's nothing that says who he is. So I'm here to help him with his kitchen.
Cool.
So,
Oh, fun.
so I get to keep him company and to point and suggest things.
I would say a lot of my cooking skills, because my timer just went off to take the nuts out of the oven.
well, don't take them out.
Um,
Just open up and look at them and see how they're looking. I'll do the same.
Okay.
You
a
might,
lot of my cooking skills was just sitting on a stool in someone's kitchen and watching them. That was like where I learned, because I had the joy of having parents that didn't cook. They learned to cook over time, but when I was a kid, it was not like, if there was cooking, it was purely based on filling us up. No taste or anything else. All right. I probably should get in there.
you might, Tina, you might, if you don't have one, you might get a serrated blade tomato knife.
I have like my knife set, which actually the block it came with, I inherited these knives. See, the block like broke a long time ago. So these are like a used set knife. So I use books. Is it-
Cool,
And all the books have like a food theme. So like
cool.
Finger Lickin' 15, The Hunger Games, Wings
That's
of
cool.
Fire, The
That's
Horse's
cool.
Mouth, Belly Laughs.
You are an artist.
I like that.
But it
See,
works.
I would
It
never
works.
do that with the book, because that would ruin the book over
But-
time. But
Yeah, they're books
It's-
I've already
that's-
read. and
Everybody's
it's-
got more books than they know what to do with
Yeah.
anyway.
You could
so
use
what am
it
I
as-
looking at when I go open the oven?
So you're wanting them to start looking crispy, and they're not. So even though the recipe says 300, I'm gonna bump up my oven to 375. So I would suggest
I just do a quick final crisp on them.
Yeah.
What do they call that? When you put it on the top of the, I just forgot, where you put the heat on the top of them.
Broil.
broil. No, you don't want to do
Broil.
that.
There you go.
You got to be careful with broil. You got to
Yeah.
watch it every second, otherwise it'll burn.
To me, broiling is like grilling. You definitely have to have eyes on it at all times.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I took a cooking class in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and we learned how to make homemade risotto. I had no clue risotto is so difficult to make. No clue.
You got to stir it a lot, I think.
Yeah, you never can walk away from it. There's no breaks on that one.
What's the other one you can't walk away from well, when you're making roux. You
Okay,
can't walk
yeah.
You can't
roux.
walk away from roux because it'll
Mhm.
burn.
Yep.
That's why I like an Instapot.
I've never had an Instapot. I just got an air fryer, so I'm getting there. And now I've got a
Okay.
mixer, a KitchenAid mixer.
Yeah.
I'm starting to actually look like somebody who uses this kitchen. I even have the appliances to prove it.
Good.
You used to be able to walk in my house, open my fridge, go in my pantry, and you wouldn't know that anyone lived here. So it's very interesting now. The other thing is that I'm like, okay, I need more space. Like I'm now realizing like I don't need 2 sets of china in the cabinets. I need to get a china cabinet for the dining room so I can have more space in my kitchen cabinets. Because now I got stuff. I got things.
During
in.
COVID, I converted
Hey,
there's a
you just
closet
need
in
less
my,
stuff.
In the
I live
kitchen.
in a 300 square foot house. That's all. You just need less stuff, or learn how to use one tool for multiple things.
Yeah.
I turned a closet into
I've
a
been-
pantry. I already have a pantry, but
I turned a closet into a bedroom.
There you go.
Yeah, or remember that you
I've
helped
been
me
really
with that.
reluctant. I mean, I grew up, you know, we do one pot meals. I've been really reluctant to buy new tools, but people on this cooking show who come regularly have taught me, instead of using a spoon, one of these little rubber things to
Yeah,
like
the
take stuff
spatula.
out, you don't
Spatula.
waste anything. Just certain little things do make a huge difference. Like, anyway, I think we're winding down, and we can just show a picture of.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Oh, and then I just got a whiff. Sorry, I just got a whiff of the oven. For some reason, it just puffed out a smell of something.
Told
like-
you. And see, like my
It was
salads
before it was
coming
slow
together.
baking. Yeah,
Mhm.
before it was slow baking, and I just raised the temperature, so now it's like doing that quick browning. I only
Keep your
set it for
eye,
5
keep your
minutes.
eye on it. Keep your eye on it.
I made sure I set a timer.
Yeah,
I
but
just
you
set
don't
it
want it
for
to
5 minutes.
scorch.
That's
You don't
370.
want it to scorch.
So, and I'm gonna put some goat cheese.
Now, sometimes when I toast nuts, I'll bring it up to temperature, and then I'll shut off the oven and I'll just leave it in there. Do you ever do that, or do you always just take it out when you think when it's ready?
I've done that too. Yeah.
You can slow roast it. All right, let's see here. Switch my pot.
So this is just romaine, spinach, purple onion, and cherry tomatoes. And it already smells delicious.
Oh, my time. There you go. Timer went off again. So quiet. Oh, it's
And then, you know, just for some color, I'm gonna throw some I've got some dried cranberries.
Yum.
I like, you like adding cheese. I like adding dried nuts, like slivers of pecans or sesame or sunflower seeds. All right, I'm taking it out of the oven here. Look at that.
Throw some of this goat cheese in here.
I don't know what it's supposed to look like, but you say you think I can eat one of these right now?
Is it soft to the touch?
No?
Try it. I'm gonna eat this
I
piece of
think-
cheese.
I think part of it is because we've only done 300 degrees. It might be better than. All right, I'll check it here. I'm really nervous about popping it. Let me just light a little tip up. Oh, got a crunchy outside. Oh, that's perfect. And they're kind of stuck together. All right, I want to eat another.
I might even throw some strawberries in this salad.
No, that's funny. It tastes like it's covered with butter.
And there's no butter.
I mean, literally, it tastes like it's been tossed in butter.
See how mine are coming out.
I think it's that salt. That salt. I don't know. Just it gives it like a taste of salted butter. I think the. All right. I'm gonna try one of the cashews. Let me do. They're small. Let me do like. Two of them. So the cashews, they don't have, you know, of course, the pecan flavor. They're a lot softer. They don't have that crunch.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I'm
I
gonna
need to
put
stop
mine
eating
back
them.
in. for another 15 minutes.
I've got to,
Alright.
I've got to go, or thanks, Tina.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining.
See you next time.
Bye, Fred. Have a good week.
Okay, bye-bye.
So Tina Marie, do you have any final words or just something to stop me from eating these?
No, I'm just gonna say that
You're
the
gonna have to
salad
pack
that I
them.
whipped up while we were talking is just romaine, spinach leaves, cherry tomatoes, purple onion, and feta. And then I'll use a balsamic or just olive oil and like a red balsamic vinaigrette, salt and pepper, usually just more pepper. And then put the pecans on top, and you're gonna have a sweet and savory salad. So just one
How do you,
variation.
how do you
Salads,
store
you could
these
just put
nuts
any.
typically?
What?
How do you store these nuts typically? Do you put them in a jar or?
Dry storage. I put them in a
Oh.
Tupperware container and dry storage in the pantry. I have a
All
butler's
right.
pantry.
I'm gonna have
And
to
they'll-
put these out of sight because I'm gonna eat like,
Yeah, once they're
I've ate like a
sealed,
handful already.
yeah, once they're sealed, they'll
They're
last
so
about
rich,
60
though.
days.
They're too, to me, they're a little too rich to eat by themselves like this, but
I don't know. Yeah, so there you go. This is gonna be good stuff. Good eating.
All right, thank you so much. I'm gonna wrap
Yeah,
it up.
no, I appreciate it. Thanks for
Um,
having me.
Now I wish I had some Brussels sprouts because I don't like cabbage. I like Brussels sprouts though, but I like them baked with balsamic vinegar and nuts like.
Nice. Nice.